Well, hey everybody, this is Steven again with Winging It with the Whites. Pretty much what I just want to talk to you about right now is not about my vehicle, it's more about VA education benefits. For any of you that don't know, I am a social worker. I do currently work in helping military members transition out of the military. With that, maybe you're retiring, maybe you're getting out, maybe you're just PCSing, and this may apply to spouses or not. There may be some information on here that you can easily Google search, but it may be a wide berth of information there. This is from my own personal experience. I have been involved in the VA system as far as utilizing its benefits for over 10 years myself. I've became a helicopter pilot when I first got out of the Marine Corps back in 2012. I flew for 2.5 years. I used that platform. I now have a master's degree in social work, and I plan to get my doctorate here shortly in the next 2 years. I start my next program here in July. Was going to start it earlier, but due to PCS reasons, I had to change my plans because I didn't want to be going into another program during a PCS move like I did with my master's. So hiccups there. I will start now with my doctorate program in July. But again, maybe that's something you want to do. Maybe you want to take advantage of those benefits out there. Really, the key component there that I like to talk about is your VR&E. It is crazy how many people don't even know about VR&E. So what if you guys don't know what VR&E is, you'll learn it during your TAPS program when you start getting out. But a lot of it goes into understanding what VR&E is. So again, VR&E is Veterans Readiness and Employment. It's Chapter 31. It's different than your Chapter 33, which is your post 9/11, or Chapter 30, which is your Montgomery GI Bill. How it works is VR&E is about your education based off of employment. So you go, hey, I want to get this job. Cool. Well, what type of job or what type of education does it require, or certifications does it need for me to get that type of job? You'll talk with your voc rehab counselor. I will emphasize you need to understand what you want to do with your benefits or with that employment. If the bare minimum for that job is I need a bachelor's degree and you already have a bachelor's degree, I don't know how much they're going to help you. You have to somehow convey that your disability, because again, the bare minimum for this is a 10% VA disability rating. If you somehow done tell them, hey, my disability prevents me from doing that job, it's what I did in the military, I want to go into this new career field, that degree I have doesn't apply to me like it once did, then I'm going to have to, hold on, I guess I have a child that wants to talk to me. All right, so I'm back, sorry, child was walking up, wanting some food. Either way, with that, where I was talking about is you want to make sure that whatever that rating is or that disability is, that you can still do the job. So you just tell them, hey, this is the bare minimum to get that job. My new disabilities that you've identified doesn't impact that career field. This is the bare minimum. I need it. If they approve it, your schooling is now covered. It does not touch their post 9/11, which is really great. And let's say some of you guys are like, hey, I would like to be a pilot. You flew helicopters. What was that like? Well, things have changed since I first did it. Honestly, when I first went through the program through a 141 school, it had a partnership through the community college, which was cool. They paid for my private license, my commercial, my instrument, my an instructor. All of that is something that is different nowadays. You can't have your private pilot license paid for by the VA. At this point, they've realized it costs a lot of money to send you to flight school on top of it if you're also going to a college. So they wanted to see that commitment from you. In sense, you have to pay for your own private license. That's fine. There are ways you can go around this. You can get scholarships. You're getting the BH already. You're maybe eligible for the Pell Grant. Take advantage of that. There are ways for you to also supplement that income to pay for the private license while you're going to school, still getting that degree, whether it's an associate's or a bachelor's in aviation science. That's still giving you that stuff while you're at flight school anyway, building up the hours. Do that. Now, that's just for the flight school. We can talk about that more in another video, but honestly, this is really about those educational benefits. Great. So you've now gotten a little tidbit on VR&E, utilizing that stuff. Cool. Now, let's say it's been 5 years, whatever. You just recently got out of the military. You have that forever GI Bill. There's another COVID pandemic or something that you're like, hey, I flew, like in my scenario, I got diagnosed with PTSD and I didn't have a good handle of myself mentally and physically, that I just couldn't get cleared for my class 1 medical certificate anymore. With that, go out there and see, hey, I have my post 9/11 still. What do I want to do with that? It is your entitlement. If you didn't transfer it over to your children and you still have it to yourself, then go to school still. Maybe you want to use that supplemental income. Maybe there's a skill set that you have always wanted to do. Maybe you're like, hey, I want to go and learn photography. And I have this really great DSLR camera, or maybe I want to get into YouTubing. not really this. I'm using my phone for this one. But I don't understand how the whole ISO and frame rate and shutter rate and all that stuff works. Go take some photography classes. Nothing says you can't enroll as an elective in some of those photography classes. You pass the classes, great. Afterwards, drop out. You don't have to re-enroll for the next semester. You got what you needed from those classes. It is your right and your entitlement to go to school and use your post 9/11 the way you want to. As long as you pass that class, they're not going to care. The VA doesn't matter in that sense. Like, oh no, you didn't use the rest of your benefits. You'll use it when you want to. It's your forever entitlement. And again, you get the BH component there. So if you just need a supplemental income, I'm a forever educator. I just want to learn. If they're going to pay me to go to school, then I'm going to keep going to school and get paid whether or not I have a job, which leads back to the VR&E component. You can be employed and still be using VR&E. You do not have to be unemployed or not employable. Your disabilities are preventing you from doing the job you want. You are currently still trying to survive in the world. And to get to the job you need that degree or certificate. And that's where they go, okay, we'll pay for it. So that's it. If for whatever reason your disabilities get worse down the road, that's where, if something like that happens, your disability rating goes up higher, you refile, and okay, I used to be at a 50%, now I'm at 100%. Great. You tell them, hey, I still want to work, but I can't do the job that you paid for me to go to school for the first time with my VR&E. They understand that. They can see where your disabilities impact you from doing it. All right, what do you want to do now? Maybe you want to continue off of what you already had. Let's use me as an example. You're like, hey, I got an MSW. I want to be a clinical social worker. Things like that don't plan anymore. Maybe if you can't teach. I would like to get my doctorate. If I can't do clinical work, maybe I just want to teach the next level of social workers. Get that doctorate in social work instead. Same thing, if you wanted to be, I don't know, a mechanic and you somehow managed to get the approval to be a mechanic because it didn't impact your disabilities the first time around, and now you have an aggravated disability that your back now hurts, you can't do it, and you want to go, I want to be, I don't know, a JAG, something, or maybe a lawyer, not so much a JAG, because it's military. As long as it doesn't impact your disabilities, you could get approved again. It might have to go up to the board, and they'll have to approve you for it, but let them tell you no. Don't automatically rule yourself out. And one of the great things when you are going to school, if you're just getting out of the military and you're not retiring, even if you are retiring, you may be eligible for this. But let's say you're getting out, and you're like, I don't have the finances. You've done the financial classes, and you've talked about it, and you're like, I don't have a lot of money. I was in that boat too. Maybe you have to apply for unemployment. Even if you do have a job lined up, but it's going to take a while, or school doesn't start for a while, file for unemployment in your state or the state that you're currently at beforehand, because they will usually take your applications about a month in advance. And just be like, hey, apply. If they approve you, you will get paychecks for the next, or however long it takes in that 6-month time frame, because most states will give you unemployment for 6 months. You're going to get a paycheck every week until you can finally A, go to school, or B, you get employed finally. Don't sit there thinking that you're not entitled to the unemployment or that's going to hurt you. Don't put yourself in a financial debt because you have too much pride. It's the same thing that happens when it comes to your VA benefits. You don't file for it. A lot of veterans I know still within transitioning, they don't actually apply for their VA healthcare, or they don't think they deserve VA benefits. You deserve whatever it is that you received from the military. Do not think that what you did is less valuable than somebody else's. I get it. Everyone has their own job. Maybe you did a little bit more. You didn't do enough to think that you rate it compared to somebody else who did it. But guess what? Everyone was entitled to 100% disability compensation due to your service to the military. Really what that comes down to is, do you actually rate that disability compensation? If you feel like at that time you're getting out that that's not something you deserve, you're leaving the money on the table. And it's not saying that you're trying to take advantage of the system. The government used you to the extent that they needed to get the job done. In that doing so, you may have got injured, tweaked a little bit there, or hurt, to an extreme. You should be compensated for it. It doesn't matter if it doesn't hurt you now, it may hurt you in the future, but you're still making sure that it's all documented and taken care of. Now, as we go further, because I don't have a lot of time to talk about this stuff, because I don't have that long of a YouTube channel, so I don't have a lot of time where I can just sit here for an hour and talk, and nobody wants to hear me talk for an hour. But take advantage of the FAFSA. Apply October 1 every year. Apply for FAFSA. That is when the big pot of money within the Department of Education is there. You apply for that. If you're eligible for the Pell Grant for anybody under a bachelor's degree, That's free money. They don't want that. That's why it's called a grant. It's not a loan. They go, when you apply for fast food, they're going to give you subsidized, unsubsidized, and then the Pell Grant. That's the one you're really applying for. That Pell Grant is about $3,000 at this. Haven't checked in a while. I haven't had the Pell Grant for years, but it's about $3,000 last I checked. There's some changes and tweaks, but that's free. You get that per semester. The earlier you apply, like I said, October, the bigger that number is going to be. The later in the year, let's call it June 1st, when I think they close the window for that, there may not be enough money to even give you anything for the Pell Grant. You may be just stuck with the unsubsidized and subsidized loans. So apply early, even if you don't know you're going to go to school, but it might be something you're inkling about down the future, because school year starts in that fall. If you might go the summer, you're still in that same calendar year for the schooling. Make sure you apply in that year, so that way you at least have it, and then you don't use it. Also know that when you do go to school, you get Microsoft Office through the school program. Just get with the IT department, and they'll give you Office or Microsoft 365 for the student. And that student one also applies to a lot of things. And if you're getting out of the military and you aren't retiring, and you're just like, hey, I just need to get out, I want to go to school, I want to use those benefits that I've earned. Okay, how are you paying for healthcare? Because if you're not aware and you're not in that process right now where you've learned that healthcare is expensive, for those of you that don't already have it and you haven't been paying for it truly, you may be going to a four-year university where that schooling is actually covered, or they have their own program which will give you healthcare. They want to make sure their students are covered. So look into that as an option. And that's where the big component that I mentioned is using your VA healthcare. There are different ratings there, percentages that give you different types of healthcare. But no matter what, by being eligible for VA healthcare, it doesn't matter what your percentage is, even if you don't rate that higher number, or at least that percentage rating, even if you're getting seen for something else, you're going to pay a copay or a deductible, just like you would with any healthcare insurance. But I will tell you, it's probably going to be a lot cheaper than going out there looking for the private market or using it through your employer. And if your rating gets up higher, once you hit that 50%, all of your VA appointments and anything that is needing healthcare, medicine, or medication, stuff like that, covered by the VA, 50%. So if anyone has any questions about this, put it in the comments below. Message me. I will individually give you kind of like guidances and plans. Trust me, I do this for a living. This is kind of what I go through. I want to make sure that everybody who goes through is understanding of their different titles and all those different chapters that are out there. You got chapter 30, like I said, Montgomery GI Bill. Chapter 31, vocational, or used to be voc rehab, now it's veterans readiness and employment. You have chapter 33, which is your post 9/11. You have chapter 35, which is the spouse and dependents. That one's another different one that applies to niche group of people that they have a disability rating of 100% with permanent and totally disabled ratings. That gives your family members and spouses 45 months of education benefits with BH of a fixed rating, but they get additional benefits there. Then you've also got chapter 36. This is a great one there for those who want to get, it's called career progression or career education progression. I can't remember what it is, but you get partnered up with a career counselor. It's the same thing you would do if you use VR&E. Once you finish your degree, they get you partnered up with chapter 36, which is a career counselor that helps you get employed or into that career field. So that way you're good to go. There shouldn't be a bridge there where I finished schooling and now what do I do? I don't know, because I just finished the academic portion of what everyone should do in this country. So learn about your benefits. Feel free to reach out to me. Again, I'll be putting a lot of these videos. That's going to be in another section that doesn't really talk about my RV life. This one's really going to be about that transition benefits and talking about the things that the TAP program goes over and just knowing, hey, this guy's been through it. Maybe there's something I can learn. Hopefully there's something there that you could take from it and better your life. Take advantage of those benefits. And if it just so happens to coincide with being in the RV life, because that's what I do, I use those benefits and also live in the RV, then do it. You've earned those benefits. You've earned those rights. Take advantage of the stuff that's out there. You're in a niche group market that only so many people can say you're a veteran and these are your benefits. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. See you next time with the next video. Thanks for watching Winging It with the Whites.